That means Alyssa and I are back with you to talk about workplace wellness and how you can learn to truly thrive in your professional life, which also has a benefit on your personal life too. So today we've done 10 episodes of this, and our most popular one so far has been the one on taking things personally, or how to not take things personally. And that's the one we get the most sort of feedback on, the most questions about. So we thought this week we would dive a little bit more deeply into that, because I do know that sometimes it can seem really hard to not take things personally. So Alyssa, hi, good to see you again today.
Hello, thank you. Yes, I'm excited to expand on this topic today and also to be back with you. Time really flies.
It does. Yeah, the week goes by like that. And
Yes.
here we are again.
Yes.
So one of the things I was thinking about this is there are times when things seem so personal. It's truly hard to not take something personally. And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking how sometimes I've worked with clients who have had what seemed to be very targeted sort of campaigns against them, if you like. And this can be professionally or personally. And one that really stuck in my mind was a few years ago, a client had someone actually from the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, so that, who had been for I think over a year. This woman had been writing to her and demanding that she send records and different things. Now, my client had absolutely nothing to hide. She was just a solo business, and everything was above board. But it seemed like this person, for whatever reason, had really taken against her, and just would, she'd send the information that was requested, and then after a short time, this woman would write to her again and want more and more. And even her accountant was saying, "This is just ridiculous." But what can you do? You can't argue with the IRS, really. And so, of course, that seems personal, right? How do you not take that personally? So, but what I reminded her of is, I said, we don't know why this woman's doing this. Maybe she thinks it's her job, that she has to find something in every case, right? Who knows? Maybe it's her insecurity or whatever it is. We don't know, and it doesn't really matter. So the important thing is how you respond to it. So what we started doing was she started saying to herself, this is not my responsibility. This is not happening because of me. It's something to do with her. And I had her write a letter, not that she was going to send it, but write a letter to this person, just bringing out all the stress, the anxiety, the frustration, and just in a letter, you can be really honest about that. And then you destroy the letter. I would destroy the letter as soon as you've written it. But the purpose of it is to get all of that out of your system. And then I just had to focus on that this was something to do with her. This was the person's issue. She was just taking it out on her. And after a short period of time, this person actually got replaced in that position. And the new person said, there's nothing here, and so she stopped receiving all these letters. So this is why I think your response to things can either keep them happening. So the more upset she got, the more frustrated she became. It's like you're adding energy to that situation. So it kept happening. When she withdrew that energy and she said, this is nothing to do with me, and then she allowed herself to release all her frustration in the form of a letter and then destroy it, that took away all the power of the situation, took the energy out of the situation, and then the situation changed. And that, to me, is one of the miracles of what can happen when you learn that somebody else's behavior is not about you, even when it seems so deeply personal. So I don't know if you have any examples, Alyssa, I'm sure you do, but that was just one that came to my mind when I was thinking about it.
Yes, and I it's a very powerful example because it's one of those things that Yes, the IRS, they are the authority. They are the ones that may have the last word, and we feel more vulnerable. And so it can feel like it's a personal attack when they're like one email after the other and asking for more and more proof. But when you said, it's also an opportunity to reflect about, is it about me or is it about them? And then that's a question that I like to ask myself, and also I share that with my clients, to ask that, okay, is this about me, and what does it have to do with me, and how is this affecting me? But is it only me, or is also about them? And it can be controversial, and it could be difficult sometimes to answer it, especially if you're in a place where you're not regulated. And so that's why it's good to take some space away and to do the writing exercise. I really like that, because by doing the writing exercise, not only in this type of situation, but many other situations where you feel that you have so many emotions and you can really detach from it, it's good to do it, because when you write, you're engaging so many parts of you. You're engaging your body, you're engaging your thoughts. So it's like it's a mind and body connection that you are doing, and you're releasing that on the piece of paper. And by the time you rip it apart, it's like, oh, I'm letting it go. And then you're able to think more clearly. So I love that. And yes, I have an example that I can share. And it goes back also to a client that I work with. And this client, she had a very particular situation in her job where she was the right hand of her boss. Like, they were very close. And one day, her boss made a decision that she didn't know about it until the person came in. So it was actually hiring a new person that worked for the company before, but didn't live in very good terms. And so that really upset her when she found out that this person was coming. She was so upset that she couldn't even talk to her boss about it. She had to leave her job for the day because it was just, she was very angry. So it happens that we had a meeting that day, and she came to me, I really need to work on this because it has affected me. I'm so upset that I cannot even talk to my boss about it. So we work on the session about her anger, because that was the first emotion, and I think that's important to identify and be aware what's happening. And then what was interesting is that when I started asking her, what does this remind you of? Uh, is there, how old do you feel? Because I like to also ask about how old are you, or how old do you think is this feeling? And so it was very interesting because she connected it to memory from her childhood where she was in a very similar situation, and we worked on it. Once we worked on it, she felt so much better. She didn't feel that anger anymore. And the shift was very interesting, because what she said was, okay, Monday, I'm going to have a conversation with my boss, but it's not coming from a place of anger or from a place of revenge or anything like that. I'm going in a different place. Like, I'm going to have a calm and collected conversation. Yes, I want some explanations, but I feel like I'm more grounded and I'm able to do this. So she came from a place of taking it very personal to a place where she could go back and have the conversation. So
That's beautiful.
that's, I think, was very powerful. So
Yes, it is. And you're right. When you have those intense emotions,
mm,
um, that means you cannot think clearly. You can only see it in terms of how you're feeling. And if you try to have a conversation with the person when you're in that state, it
Mhm.
won't go well,
No.
because you're wanting to get the person to see your perspective. This is why I'm so angry. They're going to be defensive,
Yes.
right? And so it's just going to accelerate the situation. That's why it's so helpful to kind of remove yourself from that, and try to take away the emotion of it. And that's why, with the questions that you ask, that help to take away the emotion. By writing a letter, you're putting all of that emotion onto the paper, so that you're not holding on to that. I always think there are two pieces to this. There's the other person and what they're doing and why they're doing it, and all of that. And we'll never know why people do. They probably don't even know why they're doing it themselves, right? Sometimes just we can just trigger something in somebody else just by us being there, without us doing anything, without, and without any conscious awareness of that. It's just that person may be triggered by us for whatever reason. You may never know, they may never know. So I always think there's two things. There's the person who's doing this and what's going on for them, which has nothing to do with you. That's all their stuff and the reason why they're doing it. But what is your responsibility is what you're feeling inside. What is that? Is their behavior now triggering in you? And that is something that you can absolutely work with. And when you work with that, you identify the emotions, you identify where that came from. And usually it is related to something that happened in
Earlier.
childhood.
Yeah.
Yes. When you then can become more of an observer of what's happening. Okay, this person is doing this to me. I don't know why they're doing it to me, but what is it triggering in me? What am I feeling? What is the response I'm having to that? And when you work with that, then you change. So it's a beautiful thing. You change how you respond to the situation or to whatever the person is doing. So I think of it as you're changing your energy, and you're not feeding that situation anymore. See, when somebody is doing something to you that feels personal, and you react to it's like it keeps the situation in place. When you withdraw your reaction, you don't give it anything, because you know it's nothing to do with you. You just focus on yourself and what is going on with you, and working through that. Then that person's not getting any payoff from doing that anymore. That's why you often find that situations just change, or the person leaves or starts behaving differently. Not because you've tried to change them or change the situation, you've just worked on your own stuff. It's incredibly powerful. We have a lot more power than we think we do.
Yes. We do.
You are never helpless.
Never. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
and,
Yes.
and I think that's the beauty of the work that you and I do. And I think people really need to be aware of this. Yes, it can be difficult to figure this stuff out on your own, or to let it go on your own. That's why we do what we do, because we have this experience and we love helping people through this. And so you never have to be alone. Just reach out to one of us, or to somebody who does the kind of work that we do, and you will never be alone.
Yes. Yes. It is. It is. And these are things that it is better to have somebody to support you, because there
Mm.
is so much we can do on our own. Even I work with a coach, because there are things that even doing this type of work, I can't do it on my own.
Right, right. No, absolutely. That you need to have someone to talk to. I do as well, as someone that I can talk to when I mean, mostly now, if something comes up, I can work through it myself. But there are times when I struggle
Yeah.
with that, and just talking it through with someone. Sometimes all I have to do is talk to the person, and it kind of resolves itself in my mind as I'm sharing it. But you have to share it with someone who really understands, and who doesn't try to fix it for you. See,
Yes.
that's, I think, a big problem. Very often we try to maybe tell a family member, or a partner or somebody like that, and we don't get the response from them that we really feel we need, because they're not equipped to do that. They either want to fix it, or they just don't know what to do.
Or they
Um,
invalidate your emotions. Oh no, don't feel that
yes,
way. It's
yes,
okay. Just think that used to trigger me a lot when people would say that because it's like, you
yes.
don't know how I feel. Maybe I just need somebody to listen to me.
That's so true.
Yes.
Never invalidate your emotions or let anybody else do that. You know, people will often want to tell you how you should feel or how
Mhm.
you shouldn't feel. Oh, don't let that bother you. You know, it's just this or it's just that. But you do feel the way you feel. And the only way to get beyond that, to actually make progress, is to acknowledge what you feel and then work through that so that you can go beyond it. Because if you think, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this, and you try not to feel it, that doesn't go anywhere. It's in your body, it stays there. And
Oh,
then it takes something like the work that you do, emotional freedom technique, to release that, to identify it and release it,
yes, yes,
because
yes.
it's
It's
been
a
stored
stored
there for so long.
energy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, I would just encourage anybody, if they are in a situation that feels very personal, that they're really struggling with, whether it's at work or it might even be, in their personal life, there is help. Reach out to one of us. Let us know what that is. We have tools that can help you, um, and we know how to listen. We know how to deal with those issues. So it can be a very intense thing, taking something personally, especially when someone seems to be really focused on you. Um, but again, you don't have to take it personally. And when you become an observer and you separate yourself and their behavior from the emotions, that's when you're able to deal with it, and that's when the situation can resolve.
Yes.
Yes, and I think we may be out of time here. Let me put my glasses on. I can see. Yes, we are.
Yay.
um, so, if you have anything else, anybody would like to share on taking things personally, do get in touch with one of us, both of us. Just let us know. You can do that privately. You don't have to do it on the social media platform. Next week, we are talking about one of your favorite topics, right? Which is burnout.
Sure, yes. Burned out.
Yes,
It's a
yes,
very broad topic, so
it is. Yes, yes. Well,
we'll
and there are
break
many
it down.
ways. Yeah,
We'll
many
break it
ways to deal
down
with
and
it.
maybe we can address one piece of it of how to identify burned out.
Yes.
There are 5 stages that I like to talk about. And there is a wheel, very nice wheel that you can follow and see. And yes, it's a topic that, again, it's very broad. It can lead to so many things, but we'll take it slow and easy.
Yes. Excellent. All right. Well, reach out to us if you have any questions, comments, topics you'd like us to cover. We are here for you, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you, everyone. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye.